Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Jersey and today we are back with the Bloomin Spring Update test build, and we are going to be working with waterbeds, the stone one. We are finally going to be using some of the new flowers, some of the new trees and bushes to be part of the decorating process. And we are going to be working on this section of the coastal town. This main piece of island rock that just still there, that it was left behind because we were waiting for this update. So I finally feel inspired, I feel ready after doing a few little things, few little test runs. The last couple of videos has helped understand how we use the new tools. So I wanted to create something and finally finish this little section that we have in the coastal town so we can move on. So my idea always been, I was gonna do some waterfalls, right? That was always the vision, but I wanted to push that vision. And then reading through comments from the last couple of videos, especially the last one using the stone one, some people mentioned like rock ponds, rock rivers and stuff like that. So I was thinking maybe I can approach this and make kind of like a rocky waterfall with multi-layers just coming down and just hitting the ground. And then on the other side, just have just water just dripping down from the side. So that's the approach on this video. And of course, this waterfall, it has to have that feel of a tropical waterfall theme because we are in the coastal town and we're using all the tropical, so everything is green, very vibrant. Okay, so first thing that I needed to do is I knew that I wanted a waterfall right here, and then I want a bridge so we can so the bridge can be in the floor and we can have that view of the waterfall. So it was tricky. Tricky in the sense because it's such a small space, right? And I didn't know if it was gonna work at the end. All the way to the very end, I was still doubting myself. I ended up changing one bridge for another bridge. I did a couple little adjustments at the very end, and I think I'm happy. I think I'm happy the way if I'm not happy, the next couple days, it may be that I need to push the waterfall just a little more back. So that just means just clearing out some of the front. It's not moving the bridge, it's just working with the waterfall and just pushing the waterfall a little more back. But that's gonna come as I come back to the build and see how I really feel in the next couple days. Just let it sink in and see if we need to do some changes or not. Okay, so what you see in there with the birds, I was trying to be nice. I didn't want to just get rid of them at the moment, you know, that's their habitat, you know. I didn't want to just take them out, but at some point they're just getting in the way, and I need to work, I need to design, I need to make this video because we're in an exciting time in Dinkum. And yeah, but the good thing is they will respawn at some point and they'll be back and we'll have them again. Okay, so at first I went with the brick bridge. That was my idea. That's how most of this video, that's what you're gonna see. It's gonna be the brick bridge because I kind of wanted to match the brick path that we did. But I don't know, the whole time that I'm looking at the brick bridge, it just didn't feel like it was the correct choice. I like the combination of the brick path and the brick bridge just to continue that flow. But I did ended up changing it at the end with the palm wood. And then I still gotta decide, it's give and go. Maybe because I got bridges too close, maybe I should not use that. I don't know, there's a lot in my mind that I still need to process when it comes to this part of the design. And that's what I said in the very beginning of the video. I may need to come back, give a couple days, come back and look at it again and walk it and see how I feel. Just to get the right approach and get the right mindset. Just to see if everything's clicking the way that I want it, that I want this build to feel and to click and to be able to enjoy it, you know. So that when I'm walking, I'm not like, maybe I should have done that. I don't want to feel like that. I want to always to enjoy. I think that's always going to be something very important when we're working in our builds. We want to always to enjoy what we are creating and what we are doing. Okay, waterbeds. Oh, what amazing item it is. I think waterbeds are my number one thing in this update. I still am trying to decide if it is my number one thing that I've been truly enjoying the most in this update for creativity and all that. The stone one is right there next to it because the thing that we can do with the stone one now to make an area feel more realistic and more alive is also amazing, and that's something that I didn't think we were gonna get in Dinkum, and we ended up getting it. But I think still the waterbed, it might be my number one thing right now still in this update, and I'm truly excited. Okay, so the idea is we're doing this waterfall tier system just coming down. So the first thing I always did, first thing I opened my browser, I went to Google tropical waterfalls, and we look at pictures, right? And it's very greenery, right? Very vivid. The waters are just clear, so I love that the water is super clear, so it looks really nice. So and I was looking at these two pictures, and these two pictures had the tier waterfall, and I wanted to do something different, and I wanted to do kind of like this layer of rocks that are coming out next to the waterfall, and build that feel like water is flowing between these two big rocks line going down, because it looks really cool in the picture. So I was like, okay, so let's play around again. So, and this is gonna be a good video again, kind of like my previous video that we were working in the lighthouse and doing a rock formation. This is again another type of rock formation and waterfall at the same time. So now we're combining the last two videos that I did to combine it into one build. And we're designing, and we're gonna be decorating, and just kind of making this area feel good, so I can finally move on from this part of the town that is being kind of stuck there, and because I've been waiting for this update, and this mountain needs to be nice and ready so I can move on. Okay, so that's gonna be the goal, right? And you're gonna see a lot of trial and error, because that's what designing is it's just trying something out and trying to make it work, and to the point that we can make it happen and become a reality. So okay, so other ideas that I had is that this section is gonna have like multiple waterfalls coming from different directions, right? We're gonna have the rocky formation that's gonna be in the main front. Looking from the bridge, we're gonna see that kind of rocky waterfall formation coming down, and on the other side we're gonna have like this spill of water coming down, and it's gonna be hitting all these rocks in the bottom of the floor, and I think the rocks right now is bringing such a good element into the game. Like if we didn't have the rocks right now, and while you're looking on that side, the waterfalls are coming down, and it looks good, right? It still looks good, and just the water's falling down, it's hitting the water, and you just got there, right? And it looks good because we didn't have that. But now the stone one, and when we add in rocks and we're breaking it, and we're trying to make a natural look of a rocking formation, it's bringing this whole different level now to the game. So this section right here, what I'm working on, right, that those waterfalls falling down, look at it right now. Just every time I go to that section, look how the floor looks, right? It just looks, the waterfalls coming, it looks very beautiful, it looks pretty, like right here, right? That before that, this is mind-blowing, because we didn't have that in the game. We could not do something like that. But with the stone one, and what we can do with that, and adding that rock element, what James did for us, so we can do that as designers and creators, and just to be able to build these new builds, it's just so happy, because it makes the builds so much better, so much more realistic, and because as we do research, and especially me, I like doing research before I build. I like to see and take inspiration from real life places, real life scenarios, and seeing waterfalls, and waterfall has so much rocks everywhere, either around the waterfall, on the bottom, where the waterfall's coming down, is all of that. And being able to now add rocks with the stone one, is just an amazing thing, and just so thankful for that. Okay, so the muse keeps respawning, so I'm gonna have to get rid of one more pretty soon. All that, it's sometimes it's hard to take the animals out. Like, I don't want to, because I just don't know. I don't want to, but this one is gonna have to go because I'm still trying to work on this area, and it's gonna be a long time working it. So we're gonna have to just kind of get rid of it. Okay, so here we are again. I'm still designing the waterfall, right? This is a combination, like I said, of two pictures that I'm looking at. I'm looking at one tropical waterfall, beautiful picture with a rock formation, tier system, and the water just coming out between the rocks. And then the other one picture is this multiple waterfall of different water falling from all these different angles, and it's just coming from one front, but that one front you got like this 3 coming down and then 1 coming down kind of like on the side, and it looks so good. So I was like, okay, so let me see, I got a lot of land here, so, and I can make a big pond on the top, so where all this water is spilling just over. And at the same time, I left a little bit of green, like different places with having some green. I left the nest so the mews can spawn, and so we can have that. And that way, we have a little bit of a wildlife, because that's always been kind of the point in this section. It's like I wanted to have that spawn not to go away, so we can have a little wildlife, so when we walk in the coastal town, we can see it, and that way there's a little more movement in the background. And the turkey spawns, the mews will spawn, we got eggs that we need to get some eggs in the future. So, and that's the goal, right? So it was to leave that. And I think next time I'm just gonna get rid of the animals a lot quicker when I'm designing, because even watching the replay now, I'm like, man, I could have done I should have done that a lot quicker. Okay, so the approach now. So I was thinking at first that I was just gonna do this one rock tier formation, right? So I'm gonna put some of the palm trees, we're gonna put them on the side, and we're gonna let those things keep growing, and then we're gonna plant a bunch of them. But what's gonna happen is I'm actually gonna end up cutting all that down, because as I was trying to do the rock formation and that time came, I'm gonna do 2 to 3 rocks and working this formation, and we're gonna see that as the time comes. And I'm gonna try to explain it the best way, because I did kind of like a little layer system, and then again we're gonna break some rocks so they can be lower, and other rocks that can be higher, and we're gonna go back and forth on the rocks. And at the same time, they kind of make this little L shape in some sections, and then the top is on an opposite L shape, and it's just the way I was managed to make it work. So when you're looking at it, we have kind of this layer system. Okay, so here we go again. Now we got 3 mew spawns that actually spawn in this area, and I'm still trying not to get rid of them. Look how nice I am. I care for the animals in Dinkum this much that I was trying to keep them alive, but that doesn't last long. Pretty soon I'm gonna be like, what, get rid of them, because I can't design like this. You guys can come back later. so okay, so I'm gonna take a break from the I think I remember the feeling. I was like, forget this. just forget them. I can't design up there. So what I decided on is like, okay, I'm gonna go and design down here the rock formation that I want for these waterfalls to feel. So the idea on this rock formation down here is if you look at waterfall, some of them got these humongous ponds, right? Like the water is falling and then it's create this big pool, or it's landing into a river and the river keeps going. And then sometimes when you look at down into the water, or sometimes you look close, depending on the type of waterfall you're looking at, you have like this rock formation sometimes that where the water is falling, it's just you got like this rock sometimes popping out, and that's the illusion that I want to create. And it's kind of like the water is hitting, it's falling, so we're gonna leave a little bit of an opening, right? And then the rocks are kind of leading into the river, and then we're gonna have this layer system from the very bottom of the floor kind of going up. And again, this is gonna be kind of like the lighthouse. We're gonna go back and forth, and we're gonna try to raise one, lower another one, putting 2 together, putting 3 together, lifting this one here, lifting this one, that one down. But also, one of the other things that I want in this little rock formation, that's why sometimes we left some spots open with the mud, is you see that grass that grows in the mud? I want that grass to grow. So what's gonna happen is, as this section, that grass tries to spawn, sometimes we're gonna get the mango trees. And when we get those trees, we're gonna go ahead and cut those down. And keep cutting them down as they come, so we can go ahead and let that grass grow. Because that grass right now is giving this extra vibe, and it's that type of grass. Maybe in a future update, maybe we can get it a seed, like now we got the diving helmet. Maybe we can farm this grass, and maybe we can plant it. So designers and creators that want to design with that grass, it's just another element of designing. It gives us another tool, another reason to, harvest and plant the grass at specific places where we want it. Because I think it's actually a very good tool. And that grass, I would love that grass if I could have it and just being able to plant it. Imagine if I can plant that one in the lighthouse instead of the bushes that I planted. I can plant that one. Oh, that'd be so nice. And I think that will bring another element, another more realistic element into the game. And this is what we're testing and putting ideas out there. And maybe in a future update we see that somehow we can harvest that. Maybe we get seeds. Maybe we can pick it up like we do flowers, and we can have it in our pockets. Maybe I'm crossing my fingers. Maybe that's something that will come, but at the same time, we can still get the grass if we wait. It's just a waiting game. But sometimes when you're designing, you're trying to imagine and to see it. But at least we can still get it to spawn just by having mud and just waiting for it, and just to see and just to let it grow. Okay, so we're still working in the rock formation, right? So we got our spaces. I'm trying to create the illusion. So in one section we got a T, in another section we got rocks kind of wrapping around the pillar, and then we got another section that the rock is kind of like inside, just curving into the waterfall. And it just kind of, the best way that I'm finding out to create more rock illusion, more rock formation, is sometimes you gotta work in pairs of 3. And meaning in 3 is one rock, kind of making like little L shapes. Sometimes it's like one, you put a rock, another next to it, and then maybe one in the front or one in the back. Or you put one rock, one in the back, and then another rock in the front. So you got 2 rocks in the front and one in the middle, and then one in the middle is back. And what's happening when you do that, the rock formation is actually kind of curving. It's making these illusions of curves. And that illusion of curves is what makes it feel a little more organic. It's making it feel more real. And the more that I'm testing that, and the more that I'm playing with it, is the way that I feel more comfortable when working with the stone one and working in the designing. And then once you get kind of the formation like you're seeing right now, everything that I'm putting down is still, a lot of it is still just the normal, the 2-tier rock. And then what we're gonna do is come to the rocks, and we're gonna just bring it down to one peg. You just start breaking them in different sections, and then we're gonna start seeing. And then if you don't like it, you gotta just break the whole rock, and then put one again, and then test another rock, and just keep working the feeling. But look at it right now. So you remember before when I mentioned, look at this area without the rocks, and now start looking at this area with the rock. And to me, it's night and day different. In one section, you got, it looked good, it looked beautiful, something we could not done in Dinkum. And if we never had the stone one, I would have been very happy with it. But having the stone one now has made builds even more better. That waterfall that we're creating there, with all that rock formation, and the way we're gonna tweak it, and the way we're gonna keep working at it, into the point that I feel very comfortable, that it looks the most realistic that I can make it. It's just great. And that's the difference of what James has given us between not having the stone one and having the stone one, and what more creations we can do. And at the same time, don't forget, you can have waterfall without rocks. It's you don't have to put rocks. It's just I like that element and that feel to it. But I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna have other waterfalls like my first waterfall video, that it's just water falling down, falling into a big pool area, and then there's rocks spread out. So it's just different ways to approach, and that's the great thing about waterfalls. The more I look into waterfall, the more I notice there's so many different ways to approach a waterfall build. And I think that's why the landscape in Dinkum is gonna change so much, because there's so many possibility of creations and what we're gonna do. Okay, so here we are. So at first you saw the big change, right? At first I already had the first lineup of rocks, and I was putting the rocks, and I hated it right away because it was just one. It just didn't look good. It just doesn't look like a rock formation that is being formed to lead a waterfall. So the next thing that I thought of is like, okay, so let me put 2 next to it and start and see how that's looking and what it's creating. And 2 is starting to look good, but it wasn't good enough. And then I noticed that some of the sections that I had the dirt a little too high, and then I'm seeing too much dirt, and I'm trying to kind of hide that away. And so I wasn't liking it. So what we're doing is kind of cleaning that up. But then I'm still making the 2 wide, right? Just having enough space for 2 rocks. But then slowly we're gonna start realizing that I need a little more space. And here's the L shape that I'm talking about, right? You put 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3 on the top, and it's kind of the locking in place into each other. And that's a formula that you're gonna see that we're gonna start working on. And then slowly we're gonna kind of start breaking pieces of the rocks and start having a feeling. And then we're gonna have to replace a lot of these rocks and try it again. So when it comes to the rock formation, rock placement, be secure in yourself. You are gonna break rocks and put it again, break it and put it again, break it and put it again, until you feel that you got what you want. And what I decided on is just work on these main areas, this side that I'm only. Leave the other side alone and just concentrate on this side. So, and the next step that I was trying to do is, okay, I didn't like what I did at first. So now what I'm trying to do is, what happens if I alternate each rock that I break? So I start in one corner, break that one, jump to the opposite corner, break that one, then go up on the next step and break the one that's opposite, and kind of like zigzagging, and just to create that height difference. And then I added then another rock again. So now we're going 3 wide on the rock, and just keep playing with it, and that's all I'm doing. Just keep playing with the rocks, keep playing with the feel, just to get that feeling that where this is gonna lead, where am I gonna get the best results. And when you're working on that, this is the approach that I feel like is one of the best one. Is just keep working on it, keep digging on it, just keep adding rocks, taking rocks off, break them down, and just see what you like, see what it feels right to you. Okay, so now we are gonna start again, and you see I'm just breaking rocks again. I didn't like the first layer system, because what I noticed was that the way I started it, I'm not hiding the initial corner, the elevation corner, so I wanted to hide that. So now I went the opposite. So now the ones inside that's gonna lead to the next level, that one is the too high one, and then the one going that's deeper, that one is gonna be the lower one. And again, and I'm still doing the zigzagging. So we're gonna zigzag here, zigzag there, and then we're gonna start breaking the rocks again. And you see now it looks a little better. So we got like this high, and then just going to the side, it looks a little lower, but then we got again high, and I was kind of more happy, right? So I feel like I got something on this section. So I was like, okay, so now let me clean this other side over here, and we're gonna do the same thing. And again, the approach, the best approach that I can say right now, the best system that I've been able to figure out with the stone one, is to not be afraid that you're gonna put rocks down and break it. Put rocks down again, and you're gonna break them, because this specifically method, it does take a lot of trial and error. You could get it on the first try, and you'll be like, yes, and great. But I'm more picky. And I'm always trying to make things feel and try to hide areas the best that I can. I want that feel of realism as much as I can, and I know that's something that I am myself more picky. So and I got the extra the extra effort to try to figure things out so I can make him kind of work a little better. So again, we're going 2 wide, and then some session then I start going 3 wide. At the same time I'm leaving a little space, and then again 3, and it's just creating this formation because at some point I know I want to put some flowers. I know I'm gonna put more palm trees, and that decorating, that filling up the area at the end is one of the key elements, right? Those finer details at the end when we're putting, okay, we're gonna put a bush here, or we're gonna put a flower here, or we're gonna put a tree over here, we're gonna put a palm tree over here. Those are some of the final details that start making the build feel more complete. But slowly, I feel like we're making progress. I feel like we got something in all this rock formation coming down, and finally I feel like slowly I'm creating the illusion of this rock formation. So I did try, at some point you're gonna see it on the video, I did try to bring mud into one of the squares, right? But once I put the mud down in the square and you put the rock, since the mud doesn't fill up the whole square, and in some instances it's just in the middle, and you put the rock, then it doesn't hide it. It's just the rock is just sitting on top of the mud. So it's a little bit disappointing in that sense, because it'd be cool if I could make the whole dirt feel completely like looks a little muddy. So the next thing that I'm gonna try is in the future is to see, because I know we can get more mud if you connect more of the dirt patches together. Like if you connect 2 or 3, then the tiles kind of form different, and then the mud, but it's just that edging that it goes around the square, it just stays in the light brown, and when you put the rock, it doesn't hide it. So I still need to do some more testing on that, to the point that I wasn't sure if I wanted to break a lot of this rock in a specific moment, since I was just creating this new test video to see how we can work on rock formations and waterfalls and all that. But that's definitely another test that I need to do, to see how we can work with mud and the rocks, and somehow we can make the effect hide it. Just hide somehow so we can show, not hide it, so we can show the effect of the mud better. I don't know, and maybe those are different approaches that have to do maybe a bigger waterfall with more sides, so we can spread the mud and then put the waterfall. I don't know, there's still a lot of like testing that we still need to do. But that part of the testing phase is exciting at the same time, because it's exciting to find out new ways to use the tool, new ways to approach situations. But if you're wondering, I am testing, I am reading the comments. The mossy grab path, I did test it in a little session as well, and there's something about it, especially on the top, because for me I still feel like I see the brick. It's not just moss. So if we have a path that is just completely moss, and that could be a good idea for a future update, you know, just instead of having a brick path that is kind of green and covered with moss, what about if it's just a path just with just the moss, just instead of having the brick formation? I think that'd be cool, and I think that'd be a good tool for us to use in waterfall areas, in rocky scenarios, and in ponds, and it'd be a good tile to make a pond look very slimy in the bottom and stuff like that. So that could be a cool tile to have in the future, and that we can use in our designs and just creative aspect in areas. But okay, so I went there a little bit. I just wanted to know that I am trying all these new ideas that you guys are providing for me, because every time I'm reading those I get really excited, and I want to keep testing them and keep them coming. And if you try something new that's working very well, please let me know, because I need to know those things so I can start approaching those and test them out myself, and see if I can make them work in my builds and in the composition of all these builds that we're creating. Okay, so now the next thing is, I was trying to figure out if I wanted to do a bottom rock layer here or not. So the pictures that I was looking at, they don't have that. It's because the waterfall is actually kind of high, you know, and then the water's coming down and hitting the floor. So this one is more like a tier system, and it's very already kind of close to the ground. So I was like, I don't know. I decided then to take this whole corner off. And what we're gonna do at the end of the video is to hide this corner and to make it feel a little more hidden and a little with the green. And we're gonna use some of the new trees that we get, that we find in the lower level of the mines, and we're gonna plant them. And we're gonna plant them in different heights to create this illusion that when we are walking and all that, it's just kind of hiding a little bit of that hard corner, you know, that we can hide with the rocks right now. Because there's something about it that if you look at it right now, it doesn't look that bad, but the composition of the area that I'm working on is too small. So the area that we're working on, at least for me right now, is not an area that I can expand too much and I can't shrink too much, you know. It's what I have left. So I gotta make this build and this idea work in the place that I have. Normally I work by sections, right? And I'm working on this section, and then this section, then I can make it bigger than I needed to, or I can make it smaller. As I'm working on that specific build, I can work on it. So, but this area, I was saving it for the update on purpose, but I've been building around it. So now I can't spread too much to the sides. I can't go more forward, and I can't go more backwards, and I can't go the other way because the other way already got the parking lot. So I'm kind of locked in to make this build work in the specific area that I have. So that's the number one reason. Normally I'll be working it and making those areas bigger if I needed to, you know, to make the illusion complete. But what I think the end result is still worked, and I'm hoping that, because sometimes we have small spaces, right, that we can put something big, and it's more like filler area. So I think this idea at the end, hiding those corners with greenery, I think it's gonna help out, and it's probably gonna help you guys out to be like, okay, I can put this here and then I can hide it with trees and all that stuff and make that illusion and look better. Okay, so the other part that I ended up doing is I ended up making the waterfall a little deeper. I didn't like the last tier of the water. It felt too low, and I like it when they're at least 3 high, the waterfall coming down. It just feels a little bit better in my view, and when I'm looking at it. The other one was a little too low, was already almost close to the bridge, and I wanted a little more separation just on the water. In the future, I may be still thinking maybe I do want to break the last level of the rocks too, so I can have a little more separation between the bridge and the rock. And like I said in the beginning of the video, that's gonna be more as I continue and I come back to this area. And if I'm really not happy, I mean, then I'm gonna go back to it, because like I always say, the builds have to make you happy when you look at it, and I want to be happy with everything that we always do in the island and all of that. Okay, so now we're back on the top. We're taking a break from the bottom. We're coming to the very top, and I want to keep working on this section. I wanted to make it feel a little more complete, to see what I'm missing, what do I need. So we just kind of keep tweaking things in the top, like, okay, let me take this out, like, and it just kind of like just keep working on minor details, like, do I want this to be bigger, do I want this to be longer, do I need to lower this? And that's something that we keep working. So here I decided that I want to expand, so this part of the portion of the water from the very top, it kind of, you can see that last one, instead of being cut in, I want it just to be the same width. And then over here, I'm cleaning up a little bit more of this corner and just kind of make everything a little more matchy, you know, just that way it just looks a little bit cleaner on the top and just a little nicer. And again, on the rocks, we're trying to do the whole thing of leaving one high, breaking another one. And then on these corners over here, I'm adding this green bushes to kind of fill up that empty space on that little corner between the rocks, just to kind of hide the hard edges just a little bit. And I think once everything starts growing, it does feel better, and it starts feeling a little better in all this area. So then now slowly we are working on adding fixing this other waterfall. I kind of wanted a little one more on the side, coming to the side, and then now we're gonna start adding some flowers. And once I started adding the flowers and we're adding the next palm trees that we need, slowly the build started feeling and coming more together. And then I started feeling, okay, this is looking more now, finally, like a tropical waterfall that fits the coastal town vibe. And then it has a couple palm trees on the top that it feels full in one side, but the other side, it looks very open. And what I mean by open is, you know, a lot of times when you look at waterfalls, some of them in the very top is completely empty. All you see is the sky, right? And we talked about that in my last waterfall video, is how that particular, when you look up, all you see is sky. So I wanted to create that effect from the other side, but from the side that has all the rocks and the water tier. I wanted when we look up, we can see palm tree. So it's kind of like designing two waterfalls in the same spot. And basically that's what we did. You know, it's like we got this part of the waterfall coming down with all these rocks and all of that, and it looks really cool. And then on the other side, when you're looking at it, you have more open space. Like this side right here, you got more of that open space, and then very back in the background, that's when you see the trees. So it's creating two illusions in one build, and I think that's very cool, because it's expanding our imagination on what we can do, and there's not a wrong way and a right way. And I think I already talked about that in my last waterfall videos. I truly believe that there's not a wrong way to make a waterfall, and there's not a right way, because the more pictures that I look, waterfalls are so unique, and the main point of waterfall, the one particular thing, is always water from one spot coming down. It could be really wide, very skinny, but the water is always coming down. What's around it, and the rock formation, and the type of vegetation, that's what's unique. And it's none of them is the same. Some of them are covered with nature, and some of them are just complete emptiness, and there's nothing. And that's why waterfall, I think everybody's gonna enjoy them, because you're making a water and making the waterfall fit your build, fit your style, fit the aesthetic that you have in your island. And that's why I think waterfall are just, it's gonna be such a big hit, because there's nothing wrong. It's just creating this feel of nature in your town, in your island, and that's gonna be just the icing on the cake. Because yeah, I truly believe it, there's not gonna be a wrong way and a right way. It's truly what you like and what you're gonna see. Okay, so I keep working on this waterfall, and as you saw, we planted, we added some more rocks on the top, so it feels a little fuller. We added some bushes, and some of them I added it, I think one or two right in the waterbed itself, just to hide another harsh corner that was kind of bothering me, and just to see how it feels. So what you're gonna see over here is a lot of transitions from different days, because this build that I was working on, this particular section, I was working it in different days. Like I was working on this, but then I got inspiration to work on the lighthouse, so then I came back over here, and this build took me more days because I was working in between two different builds, the waterfall and the lighthouse, when I was doing the rock formation from the lighthouse. So we're gonna see a lot of back and forth and a lot of jump throughout the days. Then I did some spam sleeping that I needed to do so I can see the vegetation, because I needed to see it like more grown, to see if I like how the vibe and the feel is going. So the next thing that I wasn't loving it, I was not liking it, is how the water was coming from the bridge, but it was coming way to the side. At first I thought that was going to be a cool idea, but I didn't like it. I wanted to feel like the waterfall is falling, and then it's just quickly opening to the mouth of the river, right? Just coming in under the bridge, and it's just connecting. But then it looked too plain, and I was like, there was something missing. And I didn't know if I needed to plan something and all that. So the next thing that I thought of, you know what? Let me work again with the rocks. Maybe continue the rock look that we have coming down from the mountain all the way. You get a little break from the bridge, but then from the bridge on, it keeps coming down. Kind of just finishing, like it's tracking down and coming down. And again, I'm making like this little canal between the two rocks, just to give it a little bit of shape, just to give it a little bit of movement. Like the water is just hitting the rocks, and it has to go through this little canal to hit the mouth of the river. Then I was like, okay, so what about if I extend a little more to the side, and we're gonna see that I kind of add some rocks on this other side. But did not like it, and the rocks kind of changed the color. And then I was like, no, if maybe the rock would have stayed the sand color, like rocky sand, the way it was looking. Maybe I would have kind of liked it a little more to see, but I ended up not liking it, so I ended up taking those rocks. So whenever that happens, that's basically the reason. So, and then I'm starting to look more of the build slowly, more and more from far away now, going from other sections of the bridge, just to see the feel and how everything's falling. You see how the rocks right here change colors? I did not like that. It just, I don't know, did not like it. I was trying to create something, but as soon as I saw that color, did not like it. I was gonna try to make this other formation on this side, like rocks, just like a big rock bed area in here. Did not like it. I just didn't like how the rock kind of looked against the other sandy kind of color rock. So I went ahead and discarded that idea, and then ended up enjoying more what I had at the moment, and we just kind of living it like that, like just continuing and just having a few more rocks coming from the river. I still may work a little bit more behind the bridge, maybe by adding a couple more things just to see if it adds a little more, just a little more greenery, maybe some flowers, something like that. It's gonna be another approach, and that's gonna be a couple more trials and error, work a little bit of camera, and see if I can make something look a little more nicer. And I know we already planted one of the palm trees. Once that grow, that looks really good. At the very end, we added the hedges again just to close that off. And slowly, more of this area is coming together. It's getting that feel, you know, of the completion, like the build is coming together, and we're getting that feel. Okay, so now I still did not like the brick bridge, right? It's just, I don't know. I think it was Linda a while back in the coastal town. She actually wrote and she made a good point. It's like the brick bridge feels heavy for this area, and I like that word. It feels heavy, and I think that was, again, having that brick bridge there. For some reason, I could not accept it just yet. And I'm not saying that the palm wood looks better, because I'm still coming off the walkways bridge. Maybe I do change the brick path and do something, but the idea of the brick path was leading towards John. That's all brick as well. So I don't know, I had to play that area, and like I said, in that particular area, I have to come back and walk it 2-3 days later, have a clear mind, and see what I really feel. And if because sometimes when you work so long in a project, you just kind of need a break and come back to it, and then start making those decisions. But I do like the palm wood look more, and I like the openness that you can see between all the railways. You can see the water, and I like that a lot. And so yeah, so I may keep it. It's palm wood for right now. Walk it in the future and see if I need to make any of those changes. And that's something that I want you, again, guys, to understand, is sometimes we need to come back days later and regroup and see how it feels. Okay, so here, this is another section. We planted some of the greenery that we're gonna use to hide some of this corner over here. And finally, we're using some of the new trees of this new update. We're gonna use some of the, we're starting to use some of the flowers. As you can see, we already planted some of the flowers. So this is an exciting time. So one of the other things that I did, again, is I kind of spammed the sleeping, because I needed to see if this effect of the trees in the corner was gonna be working, and I'm liking it. I'm liking that it feels a little more green and a little more hidden. So what I ended up doing is like, okay, taking these flowers out that I planted, and I'm gonna plant another one in a deeper level. So when it grows, the green is hiding a little more of that corner. And then, here on the parking lot, it's still too plain, and still you got this wall just of brown, and we want to fill that up with a little bit of greenery. So we want to break this up. So again, so I went ahead and planted one big one and one small one, one big one and one small one, only between. And when they grow, it looks really nice. And now it's bringing this other greenery into the area, and also this elegant to the area, and it's really nice. And I like this green over here. It matches so well in the coastal town, because the coastal town has that vibe of very vibrant color, right? The greens are very green, everything is very vibrant, and then the flowers that I've been using has been still the purple, the blue, and the white. and then some yellow on from the big bushes. So it's a combination that I'm still trying to do. And now you see this? Oh guys, I'm getting really happy, really pumped. Everything is coming together. I feel like now this middle piece belongs here in the coastal town. It's just clicking, it's matching, it's looking great, it has that vibe, it has that feel, and it's great. You know, it's always satisfying, right, when you get to that point in the build when everything is coming together. You know, as you're building, sometimes you're doubting, sometimes you're like getting scared, you don't know if it's gonna look good, you're putting hours into this build. But then when you get to this point, when you get to that point when you look at it and you're like, whoa, this is coming together, this is aligning, this is matching the atmosphere. I like from right here, and you see all those palm trees, that little circular area and the little rock formation right over there, right there. It looks so good because it feels separate from this front. And that was my idea. It's just creating these two kind of distinct biomes in the same spot. One is open, and it's not two different biomes because it's still the same biome. It's all tropical. It's just, it feels a little different. So the next thing that I wanted to do is a lot of the waterfalls on the top, it's more rocky sometimes usually, and I wanted to see how the rocks will look on the top, and I kind of liking it. That's another one that, give it 2-3 days later, I may come back, and maybe in the future when we walk in the town, you may see they're gone or they're still there. I want to see how I really feel. I feel like I like it more than the green bushes or having it just completely plain. So yeah, it's one of those things that I'm gonna see how I feel as time progresses. But yeah, but slowly this area is really filling together. So here I'm adding a little more greenery with the new bushes that we find in the deep mines, and we're planting two more over there just to kind of break up just a little bit of the rocks, because it gives it that little extra height. These ones grow a little taller with a little stem, so we plant those there. And once those start growing, everything is just now everything. And then the great thing with bushes between the rocks is also it also helps the illusion of the breaking of just everything having movement. You know, it's the best description that I can give it. It's just have this movement when you're looking at it in your eyes. It's not just this big brown blur or just this formation that's way too perfect. It's breaking things down. And like always, all that is subjective because it's just depending the approach. Because if you wanted to make a very rocky mountain, then of course it's just a rocky mountain and there's no greenery, it's just rocks everywhere. And then it's just then work with your rocks to create, that way you have this visually movement of rock just coming up and down the mountain. So, and that's something that I do want to do in the future. I kind of want to make a rocky mountain. So we'll see that at some point. Hopefully I do a good job on that and see how we can approach the illusion, and also using ramps and all that stuff to make some sections look a little more smooth, and then rocks. And I want to see how all that combination is gonna work and how can we make all of that work together in different ways. And it's fun because yes, it takes time, and it's fun, and it's frustrating, and it's exciting, and we're trying to do things, and sometimes doesn't work, sometimes it can work. I'm happy that right now we can making a lot of these ideas work and it look good, and good in such a way that we can make it happen, you know. So here's the mud test, and you see how then I put the rock, and the rock kind of just takes it all, you know. And I just wasn't convinced to do all this work with mud, so right there I decided I was supposed to put mud there to go up, and the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what, no, I'm not gonna go through all that work. I need to do more testing in another area. That way I don't have to break all this and kind of redo it. So that's gonna be kind of like the goal. It's gonna be just, I'm gonna take some time and do some testing, see how I can work with mud, maybe making big patches to see how the patches look, and then put the rocks and see. It's just sometimes that mud at the edges, it stays the light brown, and then as it curves down, you still see the light brown. So, and then it turns to mud. But I'm trying to create the illusion that the dirt is wet next to the water, but since the mud doesn't go to the edge, then that illusion is not there. So I can't make it work the way that I want to right now. But like I said, more testing in the future, more if I can make something work. If you guys have suggestions, let me know so I can come back and then test those things out. But here, you see this? Everything's coming together. Now the illusion of that corner with all those trees, the greenery, all these different high levels, for me it helped me so much because I was not happy with those corners. It looked very harsh, it looked very brown, and it just like it felt like I got all this fake mountain and rocks. But by doing this effect, it hides a little bit of that, and then when I'm walking and I'm looking at it and looking from far away, it kind of hides it. So I'm very grateful for that. So the next thing is I'm trying to decide if I want to take out that last tier in the front of the rock and then maybe add more greenery there so it can hide a little more of the wall. So I just gotta do some more testing, but we are here. We are finally doing the final walk of this build as far as I have it. Into future changes may come. So this tree line looks really good. Those trees are gorgeous, excellent. This new update with this new stuff, it's just beautifully, amazingly done. The waterfalls, look at that. It's just, and the rocks, I mean, the stone one is amazing, and without that this section right here could not be done, and it's just not to this level, not to this detail, and that's what makes it, that's what's making Dinkum even fun, greater, amazing. It's just so fun to work with and play with. It's just, this update is amazing, you know, being able to test it out is amazing. It just open up the possibility of everything that we can do, and it's just amazing. And I love, and that grass, I just can't wait to keep growing around the waterfalls just to see how it feels and all of that. But waterfalls are amazing. The waterbeds, the stone one is just so great, and I think I'm very happy with what we're able to create. I hope this gives you a lot of inspiration and that you guys start creating amazing waterfall, and I can't wait for you guys to get this update. But guys, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to hit a like, subscribe if you want to see more videos, and we'll see you next time. Alright, see you later. Bye.